What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, we're going to be talking a little bit about who's kind of showed out in the early portions of practice and who's been on the opposite end of it, right? Who's the people that's kind of disappointing here early on in training camp, right? And I want to start with the guys that have been a little disappointing because it's not a whole lot, but starting here on the offense, I think the first person to mention, the one that really is the center focus of this video, is AD Mitchell. Somebody that there different parts of his game are ridiculously elite, right? It's really just being able to hold on to the ball. Of course, got to be able to get him the ball. Last year there were different points, and I believe he led the league in like yards that he could have had if the quarterback threw an accurate pass. Different stats of that nature, but there were also different times where he could have had the catch and he didn't go for the ball like he should have. There were different times where he dropped the ball, right? And so far, he has four drops, four counted drops in training camp. Now, some of the other receivers have also dropped the ball. Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs has actually had a few drops. So, like, definitely some things that need to be cleaned up. Reggie definitely got to be able to work with these guys and get that part of the game fixed. There's no reason these guys should be dropping the ball, and we got to be able to get that figured out, right? Especially at a point where seemingly Anthony Richardson has gotten touch onto the ball. Just from the little bit that we've seen so far, seems like Anthony's gotten touch on the ball. You expect, if that's happening, they need to be catching the ball. Now, sometimes Daniel Jones is throwing the ball as well, but nonetheless, receivers have to be better, especially AD Mitchell, who has struggled early in camp. Really want to be able to see him get going. Okay, this is a guy that can lose people at the line of scrimmage, right, and get wide open on his routes. So hope he's able to really put it all together, kind of like Pitt was talking about in his press conference, his media availability, just kind of talking about when asked about AD Mitchell, hey, when it all gets put together and when he gets the opportunity, we'll all see how good it's going to be, and then that's going to happen eventually. So we'll see what happens there, right? But as we go on here, you think about anybody that's kind of down, stock down, per se. After week one, it would be Daniel Jones. And I'd say over the first 4 days, for the most part, the offense trailing the defense. I think the defense has the early advantage, which is for pretty much all 32 teams, pretty much every single year. The defense generally jumps on the offense sooner in training camp, and even in the new defense, and kind of exactly what you would want to see with the guys in the new defense. They're reacting well, and the defense has had success, especially the secondary. Now, pads have not been on. That could all start to change on Monday, right? Offense could start to get into the rhythm now that the offensive line is allowed to be physical. Now that the receivers are allowed to be physical, and Jonathan Taylor is actually going to be running the ball, right? Like getting into a real rhythm in practice with real football physicality. So, going to be great to see what starts happening today. And of course, whatever does happen today, we're going to have a video about it later. So, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified when that video comes out. Gonna update you guys as soon as I possibly can. But continuing to go again, it's Daniel Jones is the other guy. Just because overall Anthony Richardson outperformed him. We already were in a situation where Daniel Jones is really gonna have to outperform him anyways to really take the job from him when you have Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, and both of these guys seemingly would like to see Anthony Richardson become the guy. It's going to be difficult for Daniel Jones. And so far, Anthony has done exactly what he needs to do, right? Like he had a really dominant third day of camp. Other than that, he's made some good plays. He's made some mistakes. And you hope to see, now the pads are coming on. Now, of course, he can't be too physical and isn't going to be touched. But you just want to see, with everybody else being able to be in real football action, will he be able to continue to be like consistently getting better in practice, right? So as we continue to go, that's really it for the offense in terms of like stock down. I think everything else is pretty good. A lot of things trending upward, in my opinion. Tanner Bortolini, honestly, probably trending a bit upward. On the defensive side, I don't really think there's anybody on the downside here. Sitting here looking through names, right? I wouldn't even really put Jalen Jones in the downside. Juju Brent's not in the downside. Like everybody's seemingly getting rotation in the starting lineup, and like linebackers, like there's a lot of up on the defense, honestly. So not a whole lot of bad. Now going through the good again, Anthony Richardson winning a day, kind of up in the quarterback competition. So that's a plus. Running back room, by all accounts, and from everything I've heard, easily the most complete running back room we've had. Everybody feeling very confident with that. Wide receivers, Alec Pierce showing out right now in the first part of training camp, looking really good. Not really having drops, making plays, being able to get open, looks really good in the short area, and of course we know everything else that he can do in the long game. So looking more and more like a complete receiver, in that he could be an absolute problem this upcoming season on the opposite side of Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. Again, we need the other receivers to start catching the ball. Tyler Warren looks as advertised. And with the pads going to come on, I assume that's only going to get better. He's going to really be able to play his game. Jelani Woods, I think his stock also coming up with him coming off a couple missed seasons due to injury. Bernard Raymond, everybody knows he needs to get paid. Again, on the offensive line, Tanner Bortolini, stock up. Mac Savez, stock up. Love to see that. And Jalen Travis, from the backup side of things, stock up. And then on the defensive side of things, right, from the first part of what we saw, what we've seen, defensive line, not really a whole lot there. I think everything's gone about how we thought it would. JTT is on the hip a lot too. That's kind of as expected. Ebicom coming back, veteran guy. When you look at the linebackers, that's where the surprises start to come in. McGrone has had some opportunity, and he's made some plays. Austin Ajak, of course, Joe Bacci, the guy with Zaire Franklin missing a lot of opportunity and missing time in practice. Joe Bacci's been filling in with the starters and has done a really nice job from all accounts, getting pass breakups in multiple practices, getting his hand on the ball, being good in coverage, which is exactly what the Colts have needed. So very easily could be carving out a role where Zaire Franklin's on the field during run plays, and Joe Bacci and Jalen Carlisle are guys that are on the field and what we know are going to be coverage plays, or likely to be coverage plays, and things like that, right? Like second and medium, you still have Joe Bacci on the field because it could be a pass or it could be a run, things like that. It'll be interesting to see how the linebacker position really plays out and how we do that, because there's usually only going to be two, sometimes maybe even one linebacker on the field. And then in the cornerback room, right? The safeties, we know what's happening there. Not really any story other than the fact that they're going to be incredibly important for us. Nick Cross and Cam Bynum. Outside of that, Jalen Jones, Justin Wally, Juju Brent, all stock up, right? All these, I guess Jalen Jones you really wouldn't put on stock up or stock down because he's supposed to be a starter. Now he's part of a competition, but he's doing his thing. The opportunities that he's gotten, he's doing his thing. So I expect him to probably, it sounds like after the first couple of days of not really knowing what was going on there, I feel like he probably over the last couple of practices earned his starting spot back, and the other guys are really going to have to try to take it. But from what I've heard, Justin Wally is incredibly sticky in coverage. So we'll see what happens. Juju Brents has made some plays, right? I think he has an interception in camp already. So stock up for those backup guys. Overall, cornerback room, linebacker room, stock up in a big way. Stock up in a big way. Exactly what we needed throughout this offseason. We needed quarterback competition. We needed more corners. Corners are chilling as long as we're healthy. We have an incredibly deep secondary right now. As long as our linebackers are healthy, all of a sudden turns out linebacker depth not an issue. Offensive line, we're chilling. Wide receivers, we're chilling. Running backs, we're chilling. We just, again, need the quarterbacks to play well. We need the defensive line to get after opposing quarterbacks. Those are going to be the two massive questions coming into the year and what we're going to be able to do. And we're going to continue paying attention to all this as practice comes back. I think it's going to be this week we have practice today, practice tomorrow, Wednesday off, practice Thursday, Friday off, practice Saturday. And then after that, I can't remember, maybe they practice the 3rd. And then after that, they go to wherever they're playing week 1 of the preseason and practice there and play there. And then they're back in Indy August 9th. And that's when I'll be in Indy and all that good stuff. But, of course, leading up to that daily, and starting today, we're going to have updates on training camp. So again, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.